Today we're reacting to the amazing Ghost of Yōtei Direct. Will this be a day one purchase? Then we're discussing the latest Resident Evil 9 gameplay. Does it look better than that first trailer? Also, did a leaker just reveal the PlayStation 6 release date and schedule? Stick around for all that and more. Welcome, friends, to Good Playing With You, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my committed collection of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Maulding.
You can call me Bridge Baby for this episode.
You got it, Bridge Baby. Before we hit the headlines, one quick note. We're 240 subs away from our goal of 1,000, so if you could hit the like and subscribe, that really mean a lot. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump into the headlines of the week. First up, Ghost of Yōtei. We got to see the first deep dive into its gameplay with the Direct this week. Maulding, you have that story. Take it away.
Yeah, Sony released 20 minutes of Ghost of Yōtei gameplay during a special state of play yesterday, and it looks to be shaping up to be one of PS5's biggest games of the year, and possibly their only one. The story centers on Atsu, a warrior on a mission to take down the Yōtei 6, and it's got a much darker tone than Ghost of Tsushima. Her enemies seem to believe she's an Onryo, vengeance spirit, come back to life, and it looks like you can trigger flashbacks to Atsu's younger years anytime you want, which could make story progression very interesting. Instead of Tsushima's war-torn beaches, we're heading to the open world of Ezo. Sucker Punch says that this is their most player-driven world yet, as they emphasize multiple times about being able to play how you want. Atsu has a number of weapons at her disposal, each with a progression system and each a counter to various enemy types. All of them looked pretty badass to me. Between fights, you can rest under the stars, cook food, and even jam out on a musical instrument, if that's your thing. And you can have some random encounters while you rest, as they showed a vendor wandering into her camp to try and sell her an enchanted or possibly cursed mask. Kurosawa mode is back for all the samurai movie purists, but Sucker Punch added 2 more, Mike mode, with gritty close-up camera work and more blood and mud, and Watanabe mode, which adds chill, lo-fi beats as you wander the countryside, each mode allowing you to set your own mood for however you want to play. There were many more details outlined in the 20-minute vid, which you can check out in full on YouTube. Ghost of Yōtei is dropping October 2nd on PS5. So boys, did you get a chance to check out the reveal? And if so, what did you think? Is it a must-buy for you this fall? And if you played Tsushima, how do you think it stacks up?
First of all, right off the bat, the graphics look stunning. I love...
Ooh, doggy. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
Jaw-dropping.
The graphics just looked great. Man, but is this game called Ghost of the Last of Us, or am I? I feel like I definitely borrowed some of the Last of Us vibes. Like she's jamming out on the guitar, like hanging out at the camp. I don't know. I got some Last of Us vibes in there. I don't know. Am I the only one?
Yes.
Really? Oh,
I didn't see it's definitely a revenge story with the female protagonist, but that doesn't automatically make it Last of Us. I mean, there was no Joel and
the Ghost of the Last of Us. No, I just couldn't help myself. I had to say that. No, there was so much that I liked. I thought the combat looked really fluid, just like the first game. That's what I'm expecting, as long as they lock in the combat, because like I said, or like I've mentioned, I feel like on the pod before, Ghost is all about that fluid combat, just, building that incredible skill tree that they had in the first game. And just, I want more of that. And if they make it look really great with the graphics, I'll be a happy camper.
I agree. I think this one was a jaw dropper. It was definitely beautiful looking. Seeing this footage, seeing the gameplays, hearing them talk about it and what they were trying to do and accomplish got me so excited. I loved Ghost of Tsushima. It was a great game, but it was too bloated and a little too long, to be honest with you. And that's my one fear about this one. What's awesome about this is that it shows that it's been in development for quite some time. I think that you look at like what happened with Breath of the Wild and then Tears of the Kingdom, they really added so much to it for the Zelda. And I think we're seeing the same thing here. I know it's really popular to be like, oh, short development times are the future. Oh, AA games are, you know what? F that. This is like a great looking AAA game that looks like it's had 2 cycles to be created. And it shows in the variety of the gameplay with the weapons and the different fighting styles, and it shows in the graphics, it shows in the story, and the fact that you're able to switch, at least in the village as far as I understand, back between like your there's so many ideas. The graphics are amazing, they're doing so much here, and it's awesome. It is, yes, probably building off the same engine and everything from Tsushima, but it doesn't matter because what they're doing is so much cooler. This one had me super pumped. I think this is the star for PlayStation. I hope we get to see more, and I think this could be a day one purchase for me.
Boom.
Yeah, I'll
Big
agree.
word.
I think this could definitely be I didn't answer that question, so yes, I think this could be a day one as well. I might let Dan pick this one up first, just to confirm that
Have them pick
everything
it up
is.
on physical so you can borrow
Yeah,
it.
Dan, you're just waiting at Best Buy. You hear me knocking on that Best Buy door, and it's just, yeah, I think
You can't pin this one on the gaping whale. You gotta step in every once in a while.
this is the gaping whale's time to shine.
No,
I've
I've been shining. I've been sparkling. I've been blinding, bitch.
all right, then maybe I'll pick it up. You never know. And this is I mean, yeah, like I think you mentioned this too, Maulding. It's like there's not a ton of PS5 games out there, so I'm kind of like, can I get something? And this is looking like it's gonna deliver, so I'm gonna give it I'm gonna 100% give it the benefit of the doubt. Not even the benefit of the doubt, I'm just gonna, it is the game that is gonna propel the PS5 to the next level. So right now it's Death Stranding 2, but this could be what we're
Bridge baby.
Yeah,
Bridge
baby
over here.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But Maulding, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so as someone who hasn't played the last one, so I have some questions. What is the gameplay like? What's another game that maybe I have played that this gameplay is like the combat?
Imagine like a really good Assassin's Creed. Like Assassin's Creed is a little bit janky and sloppy and not as artistic.
Little easy.
This one,
with its button
but
presses.
Sucker Punch, they like pay so much homage to samurai films and culture, and it has style, and it is so beautiful when you play it. It is unbelievable, and they have these really cool fights where you go into them and all of a sudden it becomes almost like a movie scene, and they introduce these characters, and it's got like different I can't describe it other than it's a one-on-one duel that looks like a movie, and you run into these scenarios throughout the whole thing. Now, the one caveat here is this is almost like a comfort food game. What you're doing in hour 1, 2, and 3, you are doing in hours 60, 70, and 80. It's a long game.
I will say that's totally spot on.
Yeah.
Are you picking up new skills as you move forward? I mean, they showed skill trees, and they said that each weapon, I think they mentioned each weapon has a skill tree associated to it.
Mm-hmm.
And man, those weapons looked awesome. I loved the look of those things. I'm curious about that. The vibe I got from it was, well, probably because I watched it again this weekend for like the 6th time, is Kill Bill. And man, as soon as I started seeing like that, the mode, the mic mode or whatever that was with the blood and the mud, like I think that's how I would want to play it. I thought that looked awesome. When I started watching, I was like, oh man, why are they speaking English? Like I would love a Japanese dub. And then at the end, they're like, ooh, and we have a fully voiced Japanese dub of this with lip sync. And I was like, that is the mode I would play, because watching them speak English felt really awkward for some reason.
I'm pretty sure they had that for the first game.
Oh, did they? Oh, nice.
They did.
Okay.
Yeah. And they had like the mic mode, whatever they're coining it. They had like the black and white look.
That's the Kurosawa. Yeah,
they had that.
And they did have that. The first game I just thought was a good, unique spin on an open world. Like, and I kind of liked that it was a little more lighthearted. Like, I did like that aspect of the first game. I didn't think it didn't take itself too seriously. Like, you had little foxes running around that you could find. Like, I thought it was very vibrant with just like a lot of its imagery. That's why I loved how like bright that game was. It just was so cool to look at. And some of the things just like you couldn't believe. It's like a war is going on over here, but here's this incredible meadow full of flowers. Like I just love that juxtaposition in that game. And it happens all the time.
Another question. Yeah. Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, so what was your verdict though? Day one? Are you interested? Are you gonna be picking this one up?
It's probably not going to be a day one, only because I'm trying to stick to my no day one games. So I'm trying to stick to that.
Yeah.
Unlike
But
you
the
guys,
pact we
so
made
that's
was
fine.
the pact we made was no $80 games. Now this comes out $80.
Oh.
It's a deal
That's
breaker
a
for
good
all of
point.
us.
No,
Our pact
that's a
wasn't
good
no
point.
day one games because I'm getting Borderlands.
It did.
Oh.
It really looked gorgeous, and it looked like a lot of fun. And especially after
It
just
is.
watching Kill Bill again, like I was, that really got me. What did you think of this? The wolf companion thing? Do you know how that might work? Did you have companions in the last one, or is that a
No,
new
Kind
thing?
not that
of,
I
yeah.
That's a
remember.
new thing. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
I
it looked really good. It did.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
kind of
get
like I'm kind of indifferent towards a companion, to be honest. Like
yeah.
sometimes like
Okay.
dog meat was pretty cool, but like I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like I'd just rather just go fly solo. Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't look like the wolf was always with you. I'm guessing it's like an ultimate, like a timed thing or something like that. And
Oh, that's
dogs are
it.
always good, or wolves are, you know what I mean? So you never
That's
can
true.
have too many of them in video games. That's what I say. Except when it comes to Resident Evil, because those dogs that jumped through the window and scared the bejesus out of us as children scarred us all, and of course made their way into my heart. And one of the biggest Resident Evil fans ever, and that's why for our next topic we have to talk about Resident Evil 9 Requiem. So I wasn't exactly blown away by the previous trailer we saw at Summer Games Fest. I was kind of a little bit let down. So I was eager to watch the new gameplay footage that just came out this past week. And for those of you who haven't watched it, here's a summary of what we learned. A 60-minute gameplay demo showcased Grace Ashcroft, an FBI intelligence analyst, navigating an eerie hospital environment with both first and third person perspectives available via a menu button. Grace Ashcroft is a new protagonist to the series, an introverted, gun-trained FBI analyst who's easily startled, designed to mirror the player's vulnerability. And that's interesting enough why they said they didn't make Leon the protagonist, was because they wanted her to get jumped, scared, and kind of like, you know, then the player would feel the same way. And Leon's too smooth, so he got the boot.
Is he like a superhero? Like he's got that vibe to him.
He kind of well, after playing him in part 6 for sure. But Grace is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, which is interesting because that's from PS2 Outbreak. So it's a callback from way earlier on in the series. And Grace is drawn back to investigate where her mother died 8 years earlier at the Wrenwood Hotel. The game is set roughly in 2026, 2027, making it the furthest forward main entry game in the Resident Evil timeline. The key location of Raccoon City has been decimated by a nuclear or thermobaric strike at the end of Resident Evil 3, and the landscape is now cratered ghost town and a horror playground. You encounter classic horror staples like locked doors, key items, herbs, you know, the usual you would expect to see, but also a relentless giant stalker type monster. Think Mr. X kind of type that constantly and persistently hunts Grace, even bursting through walls. This game launches on February 27th, 2027 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. But excitingly enough, a demo is going to be available. They announced that at Gamescom. It sounds like August 20th through the 24th or so, somewhere around there. But so there's more to be seen and heard. But did you guys check this footage, and what do you guys think?
Oh yeah, baby. And one of the main things that I also wanted to point out in that too is they announced that it was offline single player. So I was just like, let's go, because I really thought they were going online like multiplayer with this game. So I just thought that was such a win. And everything about the game, I actually, it's funny about the mention about Leon and making Grace the main character and making it scarier. I actually totally understand that. Like, if you want the scares, it's so true. You fill the shoes of Grace, and you have like a Mr. X type of enemy chasing you. That is gonna be a scary experience.
These games stress me out too much. I don't want to play it. I don't want to look at it. But that post-apocalyptic vibe, I love that. I love that type of game. But I don't like Resident Evil games, so I don't really. It's not. I know.
They have such a good loop, though. They're such a good loop.
No, they don't. It's a terrible, stressful,
No.
really not fun loop. I don't understand it.
And
No, the
it was
first time if you play through it, it is that sort of haunted house, very scary. You're crapping yourself. You're going slowly, but then at the end, they give you the replay incentive of unlocking gun upgrades and that sort of stuff. So the second time you go through, it's more like a shooting gallery, and then you're unlocking like infinite magnum ammo. I don't know. I could talk forever. I love Resident Evil so much, but this one has me concerned. I don't love the look of this one. I do like the more modern context. Grace is fine. She just kind of looks like everybody else. Like she looks like Rose without the powers from the last one. I'm gonna wait to see till I get my. I'm probably gonna buy this day one only because I love.
But you gaping whale.
yeah.
I know it's
Showing
so
your
true.
gaping whale off right now.
Oh no, sorry, but I do love that. Now, just talking about like the replayability and all that sort of stuff got me so hyped. I do want to play it again. I just don't love the look of this one compared to Village, which I thought was so creative, so colorful. This one's missing color. They're definitely going for gray. I'm feeling very early 2000s kind of like Gears of War and that sort of stuff, where all video games lost color out. They put style over color, and I'm like, F that. That's why I think that you could have both. I mean, Ghost of Yōtei clearly says we have style out the ass. We have so much color out the ass. We've got color palettes on top of our color palettes on top of our color palettes. And this one is just like, gray. So whatever.
Maybe that's why I'm drawn to it, because I'm like kicking it old school,
give
like
me that
bringing
gray.
it back. Give me that gray. I don't know. I feel like I'm more drawn to this game for sure. Like it looks great. It looks. I think if they do it right, this one could be a hit. I'm very curious. Like I think this one is gonna have a lot of puzzles. That's what they kind of talked
like
about.
puzzles.
And they talk about those. They were talking about like the addictive scares, and I thought that was like an interesting like saying that they kept like talking about. I'm like, addictive scares. Okay.
Marketing speak.
Yeah,
Marketing smells like marketing crap.
God raised and addictive scare.
They got me hook, line, and sinker. They're like, this guy, like, I'm like, ooh, addictive scares. Yeah, I bought in. I was like, cool. That sounds really, really interesting. It just, I don't know. I thought both of I thought the trailer looked cool, and I thought this little like 5-minute piece was cool. Like I loved the breakdown. I'm so glad it's cool and refreshing that they're being transparent about the game too. Like they're giving us the information. Like that's so cool. I feel like you don't really hear anything about games anymore.
No, this had a lot of fan service. You're right. They talked about first and third person. They talked about everything that was including the game and all that sort of stuff. So the offline, like you said, like they know what they're doing here. It's almost the third version though, because it's like 7, 8, and now 9. So they've had time to kind of get their song and dance. Now we'll see if they stick the landing here when it comes, but we will know for sure once we get our hands on it. But one thing we don't know for sure, and that is completely nebulous, is the launch date of the PlayStation 6. I have a crazy rumor for you that I want to share and get your. It's just fun because I know it's so speculative and out there. But before we do, Maulding, why don't you tell us about our sponsor?
Yeah, this week's episode is brought to you by our friends at Instant Riot. Instant Riot is the clothing brand for gamers, pop culture enthusiasts, and everyone in between. Head on over to instantriot.com to check them out. And they just so happen to be the official partner for Good Playing With You merch. Enter code FIRSTRIOT for 10% off your first order. Thanks to our friends over there.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Molly.
All right, now let's talk PlayStation 6 because this is crazy. I was so surprised it's not even time yet. I'm not even ready, but I just had to bring it up just to see what you guys thought. This is from Jake Brigstock from Indie 100, and I kind of I condensed his article, but essentially he writes, according to a well-known gaming leaker named Detective Seeds, Sony is gearing up to announce the PlayStation 6 in 2028 with a release window set for late fall or early winter of 2029. He claims this info comes from a PlayStation hardware engineer and that the dev kits could start going out in spring 2026, around the same time the PlayStation 5 Pro gets its graphics upgrade. Now, this all follows a recent interview where PlayStation 5 architect Mark Cerny and said the next console is still years away. He noted AMD is moving fast and that they're already planning the next generation. Speaking of AMD, who's made the chips for PlayStation since the PlayStation 4. Reports say that they beat out Intel for the PS6 chip contract. Another leaker, Kepler L2, shared rumored specs for a possible PS6 handheld, saying it's to feature 16 gigabits of RAM and AI upscaling, but with lower memory bandwidth than the PS5. Despite that, it could still run PS5 games, just reduced resolution and frame rates. One of the more interesting rumors, Sony might be developing 2 separate chips, possibly for a standard console and then the other one for the rumored handheld, similar to how Xbox has been doing this, rumored to be doing this as well. As always, none of this is officially confirmed by Sony, so take it with a giant grain of salt, but it looks like the groundwork for the PS6 era might already be in motion. So, gentlemen, what do you think? Could this be possible? And what do we about this timeline? And it could be all speculation, but what are your reactions?
Who even knows if the United States will exist in 2028? Like, that's just so far in advance. AI is going to be so nuts at that point. Like, who knows? Like, maybe it's going to be PlayStation that puts out new versions of humans at that point because AI is going to be so advanced. So just, I mean, it's got to be all speculation. I mean, maybe this person has some note, but yeah, the thing I thought was interesting is Sony putting out possibly another handheld. That is that's the news that I think is the most interesting part of that. I mean, is the PlayStation, do we know if that current PlayStation handheld has been successful enough to warrant a new version of it? It has been.
Yeah, but it doesn't really, it's more of like a streaming local thing. So
yeah.
But even though it's not a real
it's
handheld,
like an accessory more so than anything else.
But it's been selling hand over fist.
It has.
Wait, do you have one of those, Dan?
No, not this gaping whale.
Yeah, okay. I was about to flame you. No, I'm kidding. I wanna get one. I've been looking actually on Marketplace for one of those because I wouldn't mind if I could get one for cheap for like $100.
You love those handhelds. Yeah,
I would definitely get it, but I haven't seen anyone that
you are Mr. Gadgets.
I am. I wouldn't mind a little handheld.
We've got Mr. Gadget, we've got Bridge Baby, and we've got Gaping Whale.
Yeah,
quite the episode.
I know, right?
Mr. Gadgets. Okay,
Lord, what did you think?
I mean, hey, I am a little more. I think this is very possible. I've been hearing rumblings about the PS6 for a while now, so I think this timeline, could be possible. So like spring 2026, they're gonna do the test. And then, like, what do we think? Then in 2027 early, or like maybe that's that winter, like late 2026 they drop, or is that what they said?
They're announcing the PS6 in 2028 with a release window set for late fall or early winter 2029.
Oh my gosh, that's a long ass way away.
Yeah, no, great point. And I looked this up real quickly, and just to point that out, like the time between PS1 to PS2 was 6 years, between PS2 to PS3 6 years, between PS3 to PS4 7 years, between PS4 to PS5 7 years. And if this rumor is correct, it will be 9 years because the PlayStation 5 came out in 2020.
Huh.
So,
okay,
so you're right.
Okay,
the timeline's a bit weird. It's weird.
Those are good. No, definitely good. So you think? I don't know. Are they just trying to give the PS5 more time because people are just thinking it's been a botch system?
PlayStation has all the time in the world.
Yeah.
They have no competition.
And they have very little, no competition. It's all up to them. I think what's really happening here is they want these rumors to get, started, because if the one thing they don't want is a repeat of the 360 where Microsoft came out a year before them. So if they sit there and say, hey, our new console is coming out in 2029, then it could really be coming out in 2028, because I could see an 8-year cycle, because I'm not ready, and I'm sure the audience is not ready to go buy another PlayStation 6. We haven't even seen real PlayStation. Sony hasn't made any games for the PlayStation 5. We're still waiting for real PlayStation 5 games. So this is really far out into the future. But I could see a scenario where they're like, let's put the rumor that it's a year longer than we really want to do, so our competition tries to one-up us and only ends up matching us. That's what I think.
Great call. But I definitely see it being a possibility. I see it. I like the idea of that it's coming out earlier. I think that is I don't think we're waiting till that much longer.
Yeah,
Like I
there's
think
no
I think
way we're
Sony
waiting
is
9
waiting.
years.
Yeah, no. Sony like wants to get. That's why I was like, this thing must be coming out in like 2027. They're ready to rock and roll. Like they want to scrub the PS5.
Yeah.
Like this poor console didn't get any love.
But I think they also want to wait until like the chip architecture there is able to support everything in a handheld, because they know that's the hotness and they want to make sure there's parity there. I'm telling you, if we had to do this generation all over again, Xbox would have made the Xbox S, a Series S, a handheld easily dockable, and then the X would be the one under. And I fully expect that both of them will do that in this next generation.
Would have loved
That's a
that.
good call. They really should have done that.
They should have
Man,
hired you at
the S and
Xbox.
yeah, we've harped on that a bit about the S and X.
I've been applying, believe me.
Yeah.
One day, a boy can dream. One day. But speaking of Xbox, they're taking a little bit heat, and kind of rightfully so, for all of the controversial things they've been doing with the firings and all that sort of stuff. But all of a sudden, the audience is kind of turned on Game Pass. Lord, you had this story.
I know. So this is an interesting one. So Arkane founder slams Xbox Game Pass, calls it unsustainable and damaging the industry for a decade. So this comes from Game Horizons Valentina Kraliak. Okay,
Oh,
and then
that's
here we
great.
go. Even though Arkane Studios is now part of Xbox, its founder Rafael Colantonio isn't holding back when it comes to criticizing Xbox Game Pass. Colantonio, who helped create games like Dishonored, Prey, and upcoming Marvel's Blade, says that Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade, subsidized by Microsoft's infinite money, but at some point, reality has to hit. He believes that Game Pass can't really exist alongside other business models. In his words, it will either kill everyone else or give up. If that happens, more Xbox studios could end up getting shut down. So, okay, you guys are my Xbox boys. Is
Yeah.
this, is this a fair assessment of the popular Xbox offering?
After he said this, it was like a
Yeah.
bomb went off, especially on Twitter. And people, it was like watching a tennis match. And I'm sitting here going back and forth, watching everyone react to this. And there are a lot of different takes on this one. So really what this is all stemming from is when Microsoft laid off over 9,000 people last week. People are saying, well, it's because the industry, it's because of Game Pass is sucking all their revenue and that sort of stuff. And so everyone who's like pissed about these firings turn their ire to Game Pass. And I think there has been a little something simmering there for a while, because people are jealous. Now, watching it go back and forth, people are like, okay, you guys are just crazy. This isn't interrupting the industry at all. One analyst came out and said, this thing is immensely popular and making money hand over fist, to which people replied, yes, it's making money for itself, but it's decreasing the number of games sold. So yes, it's paying for itself, but the developers are getting less money because it's cannibalizing game sales. But then another analyst came out and said, no, everything's fine. You guys are missing the whole controversy. And the real emergency here are these persistent online worlds like Roblox and Fortnite. Those are the games that are eating everyone's lunch, and you aren't even paying attention. You guys are fighting over crumbs over here. So I'd say it's been like, and they're all great points. I mean, you got to look at this argument from all of the angles, but I think my mind's been blown a little bit, because it's been like everyone's just firing off on Twitter. So I just had to get the kind of like the big scope.
No, good.
So I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to cut you off, Maulding, or if you guys have takes on that one.
I think everyone can be right here, right? So I think it probably damages the big games. It probably will damage a game like Outer Worlds 2, even though it's being sold for $80. It's probably because I'm not going to buy that game for $80, but I'm going to play it for quote unquote free on Game Pass. But I think there are a lot of indie games that I certainly would never play, never experience, if it weren't for a Game Pass.
Yep.
And I think those games can kind of flourish in this environment
Yep.
because they're probably getting I don't know, hefty paycheck, who knows, from Microsoft to be a part of this project. I know that I have never purchased Dead by Daylight, but I have purchased a lot of their DLCs, which is something that I don't do for any other game, but I've literally never purchased the main game because it's always been available on Game Pass. So I think it's a whole big gray area that there are winners and losers, and it's a tough situation probably for everyone.
What do you think is the future of Game Pass if it's catching this much heat? Could you see it becoming an indie only type of service?
No way, because look, PlayStation's their offering kind of is lame. Like no one pays it. It's not turning anyone's head unless you've got the day one's exclusive. That's the real power of the Game Pass here that makes it super sexy, is that it does get these huge $80 games day one, and it makes it much more affordable just to hop in for a month or two. And that they're saying that is one of the big problems of this model, is that the churn is so high and it's hard to sustain. But I got to think it is still profitable. It just depends on how you're counting the profit. From like a P&L, there are soft and hard costs. And obviously there's the hard costs of the game itself, but then there's the soft costs of like how much are your studios then losing out. So I can understand the argument in trying to do it, but I also think this reeks of a little jealousy. Yes, we're all pissed at Microsoft for, being well, the rumor is essentially they're taking away all of their investment, or not a lot of their investment in games, and they're trying to put it in their AI, because as Maulding said earlier in the race, like we're all going to be replaced by AI in a few years. And so, and the companies all want to push as hard as they can, and Copilot, needs constant upgrades and that sort of stuff. And so that's really where the company's priority is, which is unfortunate, because then you've got Sony over here who never takes their eye off the ball, whose gaming is their priority, but they're a little bit cheap and stuff when it comes to their games and stuff. I think that there's some jealousy here, though, because Game Pass is such a good deal. And if you're not, I think it's Sony ponies that might be, these analysts might be Sony ponies and just be afraid of, of Microsoft. I mean, of any competition that threatens Sony.
I guarantee you that Microsoft has an army of accountants that are going to be able to spin anything in a positive light for Microsoft. So again, with big corporations, you really can't trust anything that they're going to come out with, because it's always going to spin something in their favor.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not to harken back to the transparency speak that I was just talking about in the last segment, but I think maybe a little more transparency with just how the money is divided up in Game Pass, and people like understood it better. Maybe that would like ease some of the, the roiling tension right now that seems to be happening, because I don't think people fully understand how the Game Pass distribution works, including really, I mean, I had to say, like myself, how exactly is it all go down? And I probably could do a little more research and become like a super expert on it. But I think just being like upfront about how that all works could be beneficial.
Do they need to be? Netflix isn't upfront with how much money it's paid for, a movie on its service. I mean, I don't think that's
okay. Good point.
I don't think that we have to worry about it. I think Xbox and their bean counters, they're the ones that have to worry about that. Honestly, I don't think Xbox is going to be, they're a huge corporation and they're not going to do anything nice to us. If it weren't profitable, believe me, they would have shut it down and shut down the Xbox itself a long time ago.
The numbers I'd love to see are the microtransaction profits from a game like Call of Duty, because that is where they've got to be raking in the money.
For sure.
I don't know. That's what I'd like to see.
Dan mentioned Fortnite.
I'd love to see those numbers too. Whew.
Yeah.
Yep. And as budgets get bigger for games and games get bigger, we're going to only be able to, we're only going to come. And as budgets get bigger, I'm sure we're only going to continue this conversation. And speaking of big budgeted games, Battlefield has a massive budget, apparently. Maulding, you had this story.
Yeah, thank you to Zach Zwiesen at Kotaku for this one. Battlefield 6 reportedly has a massive budget of over $400 million. The next Battlefield game, often referred to online as Battlefield 6, looks to be a return to the franchise's modern warfare roots, and that has many fans excited to play it. However, behind the scenes, EA reportedly has wild expectations for the game, which might cost as much as $400 million or more, and is struggling to cross the finish line. Development on this next entry has reportedly been very expensive, messy, and rough on the people making it. For example, EA is apparently aiming for 100 million players, a number that is orders of magnitude higher than anything the franchise has reached in the past. Battlefield's most successful game, BF1, reached maybe 30 million plus players, according to one anonymous source. EA declined to provide a comment to Ars Techna, who brought us this story to Zach Sweezen. EA's desire to compete with Fortnite and Call of Duty while building something this big across many teams located in different parts of the world has reportedly led to a ballooning budget. Ars Techna's resources claim Battlefield 6 budget is over $400 million. That's around the same amount of money spent on some of the most expensive movies ever made, like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and Fast X, though it is about half of what Activision has spent on recent Call of Duty games like Black Ops Cold War. The massive scope of Battlefield 6, its huge budget, and the deadline to get the game out before March 2026 have reportedly led to a lot of people working very hard and long hours on the game. The next Battlefield game will be officially unveiled sometime this summer, according to EA. So, boys, what do you think about EA's goal of 100 million players? Does it even stand a chance? And is it a game that you would be even interested in picking up?
What is EA smoking? Dude, those
I know.
numbers are not like astronomical numbers. Those are Dragon Age Veilguard numbers. It's not happening. But like, it's just
Delusional.
It's delusional. Like, what are these saying? I mean, I don't even think, like, when I think of Battlefield anymore, I do not put it in the same category as Fortnite at all. It should be its separate entity that they cultivate and make an actually great, unique military sim shooter. And that's what it should be. But I already, this thing reeks like microtransactions. Like, that is what this game's going to be about. Battlefield 4 was already that way. This is going to be, oh man, I don't know. This is like they're crazy. This one could potentially just like crash and burn, I think, pretty quickly, unless the gameplay is there. And then maybe.
That's what I was going to say. One of two things is going to be true here, gentlemen. Either these accountants are completely out of touch on their projections, or there's some sort of hook here, something different that they've never done before. Maybe something that makes it stand out from the Call of Duty clone that it's kind of been called. And they're going to do something different that's going to wow us. If they come out of the gate like a Call of Duty at $80, no, they're dead. DOA for sure. But if they've got some sort of hook, if they're doing something with maybe Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or both of them, if they're doing something to make it more perennial and make it, an evergreens have, if they're doing a different angle, there could be more here. I just don't see it from the information that we have so far.
Wait, did they say it could potentially be free to play or anything?
No, I'm making all this up. I'm just saying they have to shake up the model is what I'm saying. Yeah. They've got to have something new if they're
in order to hit something like that number, they need to come out with something like not a battle royale, but something that's new, right? Something that shakes the gameosphere up so much that people are like, wow, this is a brand new way to play games.
Yeah.
I do love the Battlefield games. I have a lot of fun playing it. And the big hook for me was always the destruction of the environment. Like that, when you see a building come down on you while you're playing, that was always so much fun and so different than any of the other shooters. I mean, we saw what happened with Splitgate 2 last week with its just dismal numbers happening over there. And that is absolutely a chance that might happen to this game. Like they could absolutely happen with them. So they're in danger, girl.
Yeah. I think they go free to play. I think that could be I think that's going to be the attainable number. If they actually want to hit 100,000, they need to get this thing.
100 million.
100, I mean, 100 million. If they want to hit that, they need to make this thing, get it into everybody's hands.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it'll be
just a wild bar to meet.
It is.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to that one. But when it comes to out of touch companies, the next one up is Ubisoft. And Lord, I know you had a strange story for us.
Yeah. So Ubisoft makes unpopular changes to EULA. So this comes from Game Rant's Justin Wren. Ubisoft has made official changes to its end user license agreement, which adds concerning requirements for license holders. The latest EULA released by Ubisoft apparently requires users to destroy or delete all copies of a game once it's taken offline. In point 8 of the agreement, the terms of termination of the EULA stipulate that the user must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in the user's possession. While it isn't explained exactly how such a legal document could be enforced, it's worth noting that it would be difficult for any company to ensure that a physical copy of a video game has been destroyed. This new requirement seems almost pernicious in nature, especially yeah. I was like, am I reading right? Especially since it was Ubisoft delisting the classic title, The Crew, that inspired the Stop Killing Games movement. So if Ubisoft is out here telling players to crush and destroy their own games, is this something that would you even
which game is this in? Is it official yet?
This is official. Yeah, this is their official like umbrella user agreement.
Yeah,
and they
we all skip past and hit accept.
This is everything. So you have a Ubisoft game and it gets taken offline. FBI is knocking on your door and they say throw that thing in the fireplace and light it up. I just could not believe like Ubisoft does not need this type of negative publicity right now, and here they
go.
What
are they doing?
What are they doing with this? Like, so is this a reasonable request coming from this mega corporation, or is this just
fuck them?
No. I mean, I think this was the story that inspired the Minecraft guy this week to post that pirate saying that people do, which is if buying isn't owning, then stealing isn't pirating, or whatever that famous saying that they say is. I butchered it, whatever that is.
So close.
Because he came out with that this week. And then this is also interesting because this week they announced that Anthem next year is going to be done. You won't be able to play Anthem. I bought that game for $60, and granted, it was my fault for buying it day one, and it was a really rough game. But I haven't played it since then. But it's a game that I supposedly own, and I just will not be able to play again.
This is wild. First off, hats off to the person who scrolled through the end user license agreement,
who read it
and found it out and sounded the whistle, because their legal team was trying to slip this one under the radar, and some badass hero out there sounded the whistle when he or she read it. So thank you to that person. And then what can you really do here? I mean, they hold all the cards, and the only thing we can do is just not buy these games.
So
if
true.
we have to,
And I mean, it even mentions in that article is just, like physical copy, you have your hands on it. Like they can't do anything with that. They won't Concord your ass. You can keep that for as long as you want. I think it's just a scary time in games. Like if they're coming out and flat out saying this, man, I feel like we have a rough future ahead of us. Like we could see games just flying off these consoles, at the snap of their fingers. It's just scary to me. Like this is a story that's like, it's a warning story to me.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. It's flashing red lights all over the place. But you know what? I just want to play. I want to play games. I want to play good games.
Yeah, you want to play Baldur's Gate 3, Maulding.
I want to play Baldur's Gate 3 again. I want. I've been playing. I've changed my mind on a certain Bridge Baby game. I've been playing that all week.
I love that so much.
Death Stranding, for people who don't know the Bridge Baby reference.
I know, it was truly annoying. He borrowed the copy from me, and then the two of them started texting back and forth, and like Maulding fell in love with it, and then of course Lord was cheering him on the whole time, and I'm on the third person on this
You're like,
chain.
hey, that's my game.
And then you're making it sound all good. You're like, yeah, the first 4 hours are brutal, but once you get past that, it's amazing. And then Lord's like, yeah, another one on my side. Yeah, the game's amazing, right? And then Maulding's like, yeah, now I'm gonna have to get the second one because this is so good. I'm addicted to this one. And then Lord's like, yeah, it's even better on the second one. And meanwhile,
that is
I'm just
a
sitting
really
there
good
like,
impression.
and then
You
I'm
know
just
I
sitting
was
there.
hamming it up. I gotta ham it up.
My phone's blowing up with how the game I lent to Maulding is
I didn't
good.
know you lent him that too. That's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah,
Man, that's icing on the cake.
I know, right? It was funny.
Man.
Oh shit, video games. They truly are fun and funny.
That's what I
sometimes.
want. I want fun video games that are successful, that aren't then taken away from me once I buy them.
Right, but as long as you have capitalist pigs in the mix, there's always going to be drama. Unfortunately,
exactly.
I just settle for us regular pigs, but no, they got to go be capitalist ones. All right, well, that pretty much wraps everything up we have this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on a podcast, please tell 240 friends. And on behalf of Matthew Maulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.